Welcome to the Forged Over 40 podcast. My name is Steve Didier, and this show is for high performers who refuse to let their edge quietly erode. If you've built companies, led teams, carried responsibility for decades, but lately your focus feels duller, decisions feel heavier, and your mental stamina isn't quite what it used to be, this is where we rebuild the biological systems that your leadership depends on. And we do it on a physiological level. So let me start with a question that a lot of high performers ask themselves. You sleep 8 hours, but you wake up feeling like the battery never fully charged. You get out of bed, and the first thing that you want is coffee. Your brain maybe feels a little slow coming online, your body feels a little heavy, and somewhere in the back of your mind, you're wondering, how can I sleep all night long and still feel like this? For many professionals over 40, this kind of becomes the new normal. 8 hours in bed, maybe 7, but still tired the next morning. Still relying on caffeine to just get the day started, get back to baseline. And eventually, people assume this is maybe just part of getting older. Here's the spoiler. It's not. In most cases, the issue is not how long you sleep. It's how your nervous system is functioning while you sleep. Because sleep is not a single state. It's a cycle of biological phases. Your brain moves through several stages during the night. You've got light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Each one of these phases serves a different purpose. Deep sleep is where the body performs physical repair. Growth hormone pulses, inflammation clears, and cells repair tissue damage from the day. REM sleep is where the brain processes information, balances neurotransmitters, and consolidates memory. If those cycles run smoothly, 7 or 8 hours of sleep can restore the system remarkably well. But if those cycles become fragmented, you can spend 8 hours in bed and still wake up feeling completely depleted. This is the part that most people miss. Sleep quality is heavily influenced by nervous system state. If the nervous system remains partially activated through the night, the body struggles to enter and sustain deep sleep. And this is unfortunately incredibly common among high performers. Your nervous system spends most of the day in sympathetic activation. Decision-making, responsibility, deadlines, managing people, managing risk. Your brain is working, is solving problems for 10, 12 hours straight. Then the workday ends, but the nervous system doesn't always shift out of that state immediately. Your physical body may be in bed, but your physiology is still running in performance mode. Your heart rate remains slightly elevated, stress hormones linger longer than they should, the brain remains alert even while sleep begins. What this means is the deep restorative stages of sleep become shorter or fragmented. Now, let's layer in the modern lifestyle on top of that. Screens late into the evening, artificial light, emails, and notifications right before you go to bed. All of these inputs stimulate the nervous system right when the body should be preparing for recovery. Then, people add sleep technology into the mix. Sleep trackers, temperature gadgets, special pillows, all kinds of sleep hacks. And honestly, some of those tools can be helpful, but a lot of people are trying to optimize sleep with gadgets while ignoring the upstream physiology that actually controls your sleep quality. Sleep doesn't begin when your head hits the pillow. Sleep begins a couple hours earlier based on the signals your nervous system receives throughout the day. Signals like circadian rhythm, light exposure, metabolic stability, and stress load. All of these things influence how deep your sleep becomes. And then there's a piece of this conversation that deserves a quick mention as well, and that is alcohol. Now, look, I understand the reality of business culture. Client dinners, networking events, celebrations after closing deals. I get it. Alcohol is just part of these environments. And I'm certainly not here to tell people they should never enjoy a drink again. But it's also important to understand that alcohol does certain things to sleep physiology. Alcohol sedates the brain initially, which is why people often feel relaxed or sleepy after drinking. But physiologically, it fragments sleep cycles. REM sleep becomes shorter, deep sleep becomes lighter, and the brain experiences more micro awakenings during the night, even if you don't remember them. So Someone can technically sleep 8 hours, but the brain never fully completes the restorative cycles that it needs. So the result is the exact pattern that many high performers recognize. You wake up tired. Coffee becomes mandatory and your nervous system starts the day already a touch behind. And then the cycle repeats. More caffeine, more stimulation, more stress activation, which in turn makes deep sleep harder again the following night. This is how the system slowly drifts over time. Now, the encouraging part is that once you understand what's actually happening, the solution becomes much clearer. Because the problem isn't that your body suddenly forgot how to sleep. The problem is that the biological signals controlling sleep have become misaligned. Now, in the next couple of minutes, we're going to look at one of the biggest drivers of this pattern, and that's the relationship between cortisol rhythm, metabolism, and morning fatigue. Once you understand how these systems interact together, the mystery of waking up exhausted after a full night of sleep starts to make a lot more sense. So let's look at one of the most important biological signals that determines whether you wake up energized or exhausted. That's cortisol rhythm. Cortisol gets blamed for almost everything in the health world. People talk about high cortisol like it's automatically bad. But cortisol itself is not a problem. Cortisol is actually one of the most important hormones you have for daily performance. It mobilizes energy. It sharpens alertness. It helps your brain transition from sleep mode into wakefulness. In a healthy system, cortisol will follow a very specific pattern. It rises sharply within the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking. This is called the cortisol awakening response. That rise is what helps bring your brain online. Your heart rate increases slightly, your brain becomes more alert, and glucose is mobilized to fuel cognitive activity. You feel awake, ready to move, ready to rock and roll, ready to engage with the day. From there, cortisol should slowly decline throughout the day. By evening, it should be relatively low. That drop is what allows melatonin to rise and deep sleep to begin. When that rhythm is functioning properly, the body moves pretty smoothly between performance and recovery. But when the nervous system has been under chronic stress for long periods of time, this rhythm begins to drift. Instead of a strong morning rise and a smooth decline, cortisol patterns often become somewhat flattened. Morning cortisol becomes weaker, afternoon fatigue becomes stronger, and cortisol may remain elevated much later into the evening than it should. Now, think about what that feels like. You wake up in the morning and your brain feels foggy. You don't feel that natural surge of alertness. You probably need caffeine just to get moving, to get to baseline. Then sometime later in the evening, your brain just suddenly decides to become more alert. You're tired physically, but mentally, you're wired. This is one of the most common patterns associated with a flattened cortisol rhythm. And it's incredibly prevalent among high performers because the very lifestyle that drives professional success also places enormous demand on the nervous system. Long work days, constant decision-making, financial responsibility, and the pressure to perform. Then, many high performers also add intense training on top of that, then add travel, then add sleep disruption. Eventually, the nervous system adapts to a constant background level of stress. And when the nervous system stays partially activated, cortisol rhythm begins drifting. Now, layer metabolic instability on top of all of that. Remember what we talked about earlier. Your brain requires a steady supply of energy to function well. If blood sugar swings dramatically throughout the day, stress hormones repeatedly step in to stabilize it. Cortisol mobilizes glucose. Adrenaline helps maintain alertness. Each of those responses is incredibly useful in the short term. But when they occur constantly, they reinforce a chronic stress pattern, which further flattens the cortisol rhythm. Now the morning rise becomes even weaker. That afternoon crash becomes stronger and sleep becomes lighter. This is how many high performers end up trapped in the same frustrating cycle. They wake up tired. They reach for caffeine immediately. Caffeine stimulates the nervous system and blocks fatigue signals to the brain. And for a few hours, they feel on top of the world again. But caffeine doesn't actually create energy. It simply tells the brain to ignore the signal that energy is low. Eventually, that caffeine is going to wear off, and the fatigue signals will return, often quite a bit stronger than before. And then another cup of coffee becomes a solution. Over time, this creates a nervous system that relies heavily on stimulation to stay functional, which further disrupts the natural cortisol rhythm. And there's another layer that a lot of people rarely talk about. That's circadian signaling. Your circadian rhythm is the internal biological clock that coordinates hormone release throughout the day. Cortisol, melatonin, body temp, and metabolism all follow circadian timing. The primary signal that sets that clock each day is light exposure. Morning light tells the brain the day has begun. It anchors the cortisol awakening response. It helps establish the timing for melatonin release later in the evening. If the brain doesn't receive a strong light signal early in the day, circadian timing begins drifting. This is especially common in people who wake up early but remain indoors under dim lighting, or people who move directly from bed to phone to laptop without any exposure to bright or natural light. The brain never receives a clear signal that the morning has arrived, which in turn means cortisol rhythm becomes less precise. And if cortisol rhythm becomes less precise, sleep quality begins drifting as well. So now combine everything that we've talked about so far: chronic nervous system activation, blood sugar instability, heavy caffeine reliance, circadian signals that are inconsistent at best, and sleep that is occasionally disrupted by alcohol or late night stimulation. Individually, none of these factors seem catastrophic, but together, they create an environment where the nervous system never fully resets. The result is exactly what many high performers experience. You technically sleep 8 hours, but you wake up feeling like your body never recovered. The system is running, but the battery never fully recharged. The good news is that this pattern is incredibly reversible once the underlying physiology is correct, because the human body is extremely responsive to strong biological signals. Once circadian rhythm stabilizes, and once metabolic inputs become consistent, and once the nervous system begins shifting properly between activation and recovery, the cortisol rhythm often corrects itself surprisingly quickly. And when that rhythm stabilizes, you start waking up and your brain actually feels ready to start the day. No fog, no heavy fatigue, just steady alertness. So to bring this all together, let's have a discussion about exactly how high performers rebuild those signals so that deep sleep returns and morning stops feeling a struggle. Because when the biological hierarchy is rebuilt correctly, waking up energized becomes the normal experience again. So now we get to the practical question. If you're sleeping long enough, but still waking up exhausted, how do you actually fix it? Because the solution is not another sleep gadget. It's not a new mattress. It's not obsessing over your sleep score every morning. The real solution is restoring the biological signals that control sleep quality in the first place. Sleep is not something you force. Sleep is something your physiology allows when the system receives the right signals. And those signals begin hours before bedtime. The first place to start is morning light exposure. This is one of the most powerful regulators of the circadian clock. When light enters the eye early in the day, it sends a signal to the brain that coordinates things like cortisol rhythm, melatonin release, your body temperatures, your metabolic timing. And when that clock receives a strong light signal in the morning, the entire hormonal system becomes more organized. Cortisol rises appropriately. Energy ramps up smoothly, and melatonin begins preparing for release roughly 14 to 16 hours later. But here's the reality for many high performers. They wake up early before sunrise, like I do. I'm up at 5. Sun isn't out, which means natural sunlight isn't available. If that's the case, the next best option is bright overhead lighting immediately after waking. No dim lamps, no soft yellow lighting, not your laptop or your phone. The brain needs a strong signal that the day has begun. Then, once natural sunlight becomes available, stepping outside for even 5 or 10 minutes helps reinforce that signal. And one important detail here, avoid sunglasses during that first exposure. The light signal reaching the eyes is what anchors circadian timing. Now, the second piece is metabolic stability throughout the day. Remember what we talked about earlier. Your brain needs steady fuel. If blood sugar swings dramatically throughout the day, stress hormones constantly step in to stabilize it. Those stress hormones don't simply disappear at night. They linger, which makes it harder for the nervous system to fully downshift when bedtime does arrive. That's why consistent fueling patterns really matter. Protein early in the day and balanced meals throughout that stabilize blood sugar. And avoiding the pattern where caffeine becomes the early fuel source for the first half of the day. When blood sugar becomes stable, the nervous system becomes calmer. And when the nervous system becomes calmer, sleep becomes deeper. Now let's talk about evening signals, because this is where a lot of high performers accidentally sabotage their own sleep. The nervous system needs cues that the performance phase of the day is ending. Lower lighting in the evening, reducing screen exposure before bed, laptops, phones, and activities that signal the brain that it's time to downshift. Taking a short walk outside after dinner, reading something that isn't work-related, breathing patterns that slow the heart rate. These kinds of signals sound simple, but they're incredibly powerful neurologically. They tell the brain that the threat phase of the day has ended, which allows the parasympathetic nervous system to take over. And that is the system responsible for deep sleep. Now, we need to mention a few things about alcohol again, because this is one of the most common factors affecting sleep quality in high performers. And again, I understand the social reality here. Business dinners, networking events, celebrations, etc. But even though alcohol comes with the territory, it's important to understand the trade-off. Alcohol sedates the brain initially. That's why people feel relaxed or even sleepy after drinking. But once the body begins metabolizing alcohol, the brain becomes more stimulated. Sleep cycles become fragmented. REM sleep shortens, deep sleep becomes much lighter, and the brain experiences more micro awakenings throughout the night. So someone might sleep 8 hours, but the restorative phases of sleep never fully complete. And this is why a lot of people wake up tired after a night that technically looked like adequate sleep. Now, the solution here doesn't have to be extreme. For many people, simply reducing alcohol frequency or avoiding it close to bedtime can often dramatically improve sleep quality. Sometimes even 2 or 3 alcohol-free nights during the work week can create a noticeable difference in your morning energy. And now let's address something that has become popular recently. Sleep tracking. Wearables, apps, devices that score your sleep every morning. Some of these tools are useful and interesting, but they often cause people to obsess over the metric rather than the physiology. You'll see people chasing a higher sleep score while ignoring the factors that control sleep depth. Things such as stress load, metabolic stability, light exposure, circadian rhythm. Those upstream systems determine sleep quality far more than any gadget. If those systems are functioning properly, sleep usually improves with no complicated interventions. And this is exactly why the framework I use with clients, the ASSESS method, starts with those upstream signals. Before we talk about supplements and before we talk about complicated sleep protocols, we evaluate the biological hierarchy: circadian rhythm, metabolic stability, nervous system regulation, and mitochondrial energy production. When those systems stabilize, you'll notice a few interesting things. Sleep deepens naturally. Cortisol rhythm resets, hormone signaling improves, and mornings stop feeling like a struggle. You wake up and the brain actually feels ready to start the day. Alert, clear, steady, not wired and not dependent on caffeine just to function. Just normal, steady biological energy. And this is the neat part. Most high performers don't need perfect sleep to feel great again. They simply need the biological systems that control sleep to start functioning properly again. Because once those systems are aligned, the body becomes incredibly good at repairing itself overnight. Energy returns, recovery improves, mental sharpness will come back, and the daily rhythm of performance and recovery becomes sustainable again. If you want to start rebuilding those systems, my 30-day energy reset program walks through the exact sequence for stabilizing circadian rhythm, metabolic health, and nervous system recovery. The link is in the description. It's completely free. And just a quick reminder, you do not tolerate mediocrity in your business. Don't tolerate it in your biology. I'll see you all very soon. Take care.